Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. We've got a small custom build here that is not posting. This is an AMD APU based computer. I've got it plugged in via VGA at the moment because my HDMI is busy, so we've got no display capture. But as you can see, it turns on, we've got fan spin, but there's no output to the monitor. So let's just power this off, and I'm going to go straight in with the BIOS reset at the moment because I've been having a lot of luck with BIOS resets lately. So let's just pop that out straight away, and we'll just do a quick visual inspection of the rest of the computer while that's out. So our HD audio connector isn't in properly. I'm going to leave that alone for a sec just in case. I really don't believe that that could be it, but I don't want to touch anything at the moment. I just want to observe because I don't want to change more than one thing at a time. There's a very slight gap underneath the ATX power connector. I can get my fingernail between the plug and the connector, so that might not be in properly. The RAM is in properly. There's some dust on the CPU cooler, but not enough to be causing a problem. And everything else looks pretty tidy in here, to be honest. This is actually one of my builds from a long time ago when I went through a phase of trying to compete with PC World for bookcase style computers. These days I don't bother anymore, just because when you try and build small compact computers like they sell in the big shops, you just end up using, you know, kind of poor quality cases, and I'm not really happy with these cases. So yeah, we don't build in these anymore. But you know, it's because it came out of my shop, it is actually reasonable quality. Right, let's stick that battery back in and just see if that's going to be the end of this video. If you're watching this, it means that that wasn't it, because if this works, I'm going to bin this video. No, that has not fixed it. Alright, so let's bare boot. So we're going to unplug all the things, drop those USBs out. We'll leave the front panel connectors in because that's not going to be it. Disconnect the hard drive. Just disconnect the power from the hard drive so we're not constantly power cycling that either. And I'm just going to double check that that connector is in properly. It's only poking out by a tiny amount, so I don't think that's it, but my rule of thumb is if the locking lever isn't closed, it's not in properly. That's my rule. There we go. That's unquestionably in. And CPU power is in as well. CPU fan is there. Let's just drop out the system fan because we can. That's about it. There's nothing else plugged into this thing. It's a pretty simple build. Alright, let's go again. And while I wait for that to post, I'm going to go and get the Antec. And I've lost the Antec. How do you misplace a kilowatt power supply? Okay. Alright, big boy power supply time. So this thing has a small form factor PSU in it. I think it's an I can't remember the name of it. It's the small ATX size. I think it's that form factor. It's not a flex ATX. I think it's the that tiny one that you see in a lot of modern ones. So it is replaceable, but we'll see if that's the problem first. Oh, that connector is horrifying. No wonder this wasn't all the way in. Okay. Power, power, power. Let's go. No. I'm going to plug in a system speaker. JFP2, that's probably a system speaker. I'm just going to turn that off and on again just to see if it gives me any beeps at all. No posts rarely actually give you beeps. The only time you get beeps is if it's, you know, a simple memory issue. But I don't very often have much success with system speakers, which is why you don't see me connecting them anymore. But, you know, now and then I plug one in just because you get a gut feeling that it might be trying to tell you something, which this one isn't. Alright, ripping pepperonis. So it's not the power supply. I'm going to leave this plugged in for the time being anyway. Let's try some different memory. So this is DDR3 1600. A nice clean Corsair module there. It's quite an old one. This is an old design. However, its memory is memory. Let's grab a known good. Plug you in there. Power up. Nothing. Okay. We're going to power off and we're going to move the memory to the other slot just in case we've got a bad slot. I don't like the way that sometimes it just powers on by itself when I turn the power supply on. The first time it did it, it was because I turned it off and on again too quickly, I think. But that time, you know, it had been off for a period of time. No. Okay. Do we have... Let's just move you to the other slot on the board because I think that's where you're supposed to be. Okay. Let's try that again. Nope. Okay, CPU inspection. Move you out of the way. That seems a bit stiff. That doesn't feel right. I don't like that. Yeah, that thermal paste is dry. I can't believe it's burnt out. These things like to run hot, but it's probably not exactly been thrashed. Okay, so this is an A6 7400. There is some dust around here. Maybe it just wants reseating. No visible problems with the chip. Let's do a pin inspection. Those are all perfectly straight. That dude is fine. There's nothing wrong with him. And the socket looks fine as well. Okay, let's just brush that down and we'll just put that guy back in. And I'm just going to put some fresh thermal paste on that. There we go. So even with the clamp engaged, I can still just twist the heatsink slightly, which is a good sign. We should be able to twist it ever so slightly. Alright, let's see if that's going to start now. Well, let's get our CPU power in. Go! Still nothing. Okay. Board's coming out. board is out. Let's just do a visual inspection round the back. That's okay. That all looks fine. Doesn't look like anything horrifying has happened to this guy. I see no problems. Alright, let's power it up and see if it works out of the case. Okay, power at the back, and let's take a couple of guesses as to where the power switch is. How about there? First time. Well, the lights are on, but there's nobody at home. I'm gonna try putting a graphics card in it and see if we get any display output from a different graphics card. Let's get the tester card. The face when your graphics card is too small to have a locking lever on it. Alright, let's power you up, see if you do anything. Power at the PSU, and go. Hello, let's try that again. Go. Go. There we go. Nothing. Still nothing. I don't know, guys. I have tested this RAM in the past, I know it works. But you know what, just in case, we're going to put another module in. We'll drop this graphics card out on the next attempt because it's not helping us and it's just adding more complications to the system. I think we're down to CPU or motherboard. We've done RAM, we've done power supply, we've done graphics card. We've got no beep from the speaker. Right, and one last Hail Mary, just because if this doesn't work, I've got to go and try and find some FM2 spare parts. I haven't done anything with FM2 for a couple of years now, so I've got nothing lying around. I think it's FM2 anyway. Right, come on, give me something. Work for me. Okay. So we need another motherboard or another CPU. So I'm going to go and hit up eBay and see which is cheaper. See if we can find some NAF A4 bottom end thing for 20 quid or something like that. Or maybe even just a spare FM2 motherboard. I'm inclined to... I would rather spend money on a spare motherboard if I can, because it's more likely to be the motherboard just because it's never the CPU, except when it is. However, it's never the CPU. So I'm going to go and have a look at spare boards and maybe spare CPUs and see what is economical to buy for testing purposes. And we will be back after the cut. Bye for now. Okay, right, we're back. I have a replacement motherboard to test with, so we're going to quickly strip all the components off of this one. And that's a lot. Okay, let's kick you to one side. And break open our replacement. We'll consider giving it some nice thermal paste in a minute. I'm just going to see if it's going to work first, because we're going to be doing some more swapping around anyway. Because if this works, we then need to put everything back in the old motherboard in order to do another control test. Because this has been sitting off for a couple of days now. I need CPU power. There we go. We've got a different testing power supply at the moment. The big Antec is out on loan, so I've got a slightly smaller Corsair, which is still hilarious overkill for testing this tiny little thing. Alright, so we've got CPU power, we've got Movo power, we're good to go. Let's put that to one side, and let's plug some stuff in and see if it posts. Okay, power to the power supply. Let's start the capture card. And boop. Okay, that power cycle, that's normal. New motherboards do that sometimes. A long post is also normal. And there we go, we have picture. Skadoosh. No bootable devices detected, that's fine. Is it detecting our CPU properly? Yeah, there's our AMD A6 7400K. Nice. Okay, right, so now we've got to swap back to the other board and confirm on our blind test. So we're going to switch everything back to the old board, and then we should find that the old board does not post. Then we go back to the new board and check that it posts again, so we can be absolutely certain that it's not a fluke. So power off and round we go again. That looks like a no post to me. We should have had a blue light on the monitor by now. No, that's a good 20 seconds and it's not posting. So we are done. Right, so we're going to go around one more time. One more test in the new board. It's going to post first time, and we're going to rebuild the computer with the new motherboard in it. And that will be a successful diagnosis, and it will be a good call on a motherboard and not the CPU, because it's never the CPU, except when it is. We're going to put some fresh thermal paste on it this time, because I'm pretty certain it's the last time the CPU will be getting changed out. There we go. It was having a moment then, but I think my capture card has crashed, because we do actually have post. There is our post. So yeah, not sure what that's all about. Anyway, good enough. We're rebuilding. Let's get on with it. Right, so we've got to change out our back plates for this, because we've got a different Mobo going in. So old one's coming out, new one's going in. And then we should just be able to drop everything back in and just plug it all back in. Right, we've only got a 4-pin CPU power cable from this power supply, but that's okay. Although it's an 8-pin on this motherboard, we don't have to have an 8-pin going into it. The 8-pin is only important if you have a high power CPU in there. So for example, this is an A6. If we had like the top end A10 in there, then I might be a little bit more concerned about running it on a 4-pin. However, the little A6, it's not going to use that much power, so it'll be perfectly happy. Where are we running our system fans? Let's go straight across the board. Aesthetics are not too important on this computer. It's only just a home office box. Good. Alright, I think he's ready to go. Let's see if it'll start up. Because we've got Windows 10 on here, there's a good chance that this thing will boot straight back into Windows, and then I've just got to service it. However, Windows is probably going to have a world-class hissy fit because all the hardware has changed. So, let's find out. And go! Should probably reset my capture card as well. Okay, so we've got old Hibernate data. Obviously, we're not going to try and resume from that. We're going to delete restoration data and go to the system boot menu. Okay, we've got Windows 7, so it's probably about to blue screen. We do have the same... No, of course not. I was kind of hoping because we were running the same chipset that we might get away with that. What have we got? An A86 versus... an A78. Yeah, no, we are on going down to a different chipset, an older chipset, which doesn't really matter on a APU. However, it does mean that Windows is going to be upset, shall we say. Let's launch Startup Repair and see if that can fix it. Right, no, we don't want to system restore. I'm extremely doubtful that automatic repair is going to be able to fix this. Alright, that's going to take ages and probably fail, and it's basically closing time. So I'm going to come back to this tomorrow and decide what we're going to do with it. If this was Windows 10, we'd be okay. However, Windows 7 doesn't like motherboard changes. So we'll come back to it. We'll see what's going on. Okay, so the blue screen error that we've got when we try and start this system up is a 7B error, and the most likely cause of this blue screen error is that Windows 7 does not have the drivers for the hard drive controller on our new motherboard loaded. If we had Windows 10, this wouldn't be an issue. Windows 10 would just install them and start up. However, we're on Windows 7 and we can't upgrade it to Windows 10 with an inline upgrade until Windows 7 is booting again. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and manually load the drivers for the hard drive controller on the new one. So let's switch over to the Gigabyte website. So here is the motherboard that I've fitted. It's a slightly older model, but you know, it'll do. And we need drivers, and I'm hoping to find the Serial ATA drivers on a manual download. So we need 764, and let's go SATA RAID, AMD RAID driver, AMD AHCI. So this should be what we want. So Windows should have one of these automatically, but it won't install them unless it needs to. Oh no, it's an exe. Okay, let's see if we can extract this. Show in folder, amongst all the other stuff that I should be deleting. Let's go ahead and run this and see if we can get, extract 2 downloads, that'll do. Okay, so there are our AHCI drivers. So what we're going to do, I'm going to copy this whole folder, and I'm going to copy it onto my Windows 7 flash drive, paste. And now we're going to boot from the Windows 7 flash drive into a recovery environment, and we're going to manually load these drivers. So with a bit of luck, it may actually have half a chance of booting up. So we're going to eject this and boot from the Windows 7 flash drive. Okay, so we're staying on US because I'm using a US keyboard. We're going to repair your computer. Now we're going to troubleshoot. If this looks a bit weird, it's because I have a weird updated version of Windows 7. Just so on the rare occasions where I need to install it, it's slightly less painful. Okay, so we need the drive letter of the flash drive. So we're going to go C, dir. Nope. We're going to go D. Right, there's our flash drive, because as you can see we have the AHCI folder there. So we're in the right place now. And we're going to go DISM, image, D. Oh, we need the system disk as well. There's the system disk. So D is flash, E is system. So with this command, we're going to add onto image E, so onto our Windows system drive, more drivers, and the driver source is going to be D drive, and then we're doing recursive, so add any drivers it can find on there. However, just for good measure though, because this is a Windows system drive, we're just going to specify that AHCI folder. What was it called? AHCI Wins W7. We're just going to specify that, otherwise it's going to slipstream all the drivers from the Windows drive, which we don't want to do. AHCI-W7, there we go. So as you can see, I've put in the path to that specific directory. So, enter. Let's see what we get. Found 4 drivers. Great. So that has slipstreamed 4 new drivers onto our Windows image. Is that going to kick you back to a prompt? There we go. Okay, operation is completed successfully. So let's reboot and see if it can do that natively now. Otherwise, I'm not sure if we need to sort of prompt it to redetect or not. We'll find out in a moment. So let's just go ahead and do shutdown, restart T-0. No? Okay. Start Windows normally. No, I didn't think that was going to work. It never works. You can't fix this on Windows 7. It's such a ball ache. Let's see how we reset the hard drive controller. Right, no, that should have fixed it. That should have done it. Let's just make sure that our hard drive controller is actually in AHCI mode, just in case this is a dick motherboard that's in compatibility mode by default, because you never know. BIOS features. Let me see. I need hard drive controller stuff. SATA configuration. There we go. Unbelievable! It's in legacy mode. You arsehole. AHCI. You arsehole. Alright, save and exit. There is a good chance it's going to boot now. Here we go. I'm ready. I'm ready for a boot. Don't make me reinstall Windows. I don't want to. I hate installing Windows 7. Come on. Yes! It's working! It's working! Okay, so it might not have been necessary to slipstream those SATA drivers onto it. It looks like we just needed to drop it out of legacy IDE mode. However, either way, we're into Windows 7 now. So now I'm going to go ahead and service Windows 7 and then upgrade it to 10. And by all means, feel free to throw your hate messages into the comments telling me that Windows 7 isn't all that bad. Whatever, I like Windows 10. We'll agree to disagree. Alright, we are done with this computer. I'm not going to put you through all the servicing process. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.